Hello, welcome to another episode of FreeCodeSession. My name is Jason Bach, and I found a document. So I was trying to look at how was this actually done? How is this put together? And I threw it over on the screen here. I'll bring it over here so you can see it. So this actually describes what the NullableAttribute does. And as a side note, I'm just realizing apparently it's going to have a read-only byte flag. So the way that I'm doing it now, I think it can actually change. You know, and here's another point. I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to change this because there should be tests around. I'm realizing that I'm forgetting tests in certain places. So the nullable context has this crap in it. If it's a nullable attribute, all I should have to do is say return off of the attribute. Type. Attribute type? Yeah. Get field. We're going to call it nullable flags. Get value. And we're going to cast that as a byte array. I'm going to comment this out for just a second. On the attribute. There. Okay, now let's just go through my nullable context tests and see if these pass or not now. No, they do not. Oh, crud. Well, maybe I can't do that. See, this is good while you have tests because, though it's weird, because if I look at these, like this one, oh, that's right, because, okay, yeah, the only one now that has anything is this one. So this is the only one that actually has data on it. So, yeah, I don't know if I'm actually going to be able to get, I can get the data. Attribute type, named arguments constructor, toString attribute type, constructor arguments equals. I would really like, and my brain's not working right now. I'd really like to be able to just say, hey, I know that this is going to have a read-only field of this. And I like using get custom attributes data, but I don't think this is going to work in this case. Though I do think I can shore this up just a little bit, which is there are only two constructors. So if it is a nullable attribute, I should be able to do this. And let's come back over to that. Up here. Run tests. Yeah. Okay, so that's actually somewhat good. I trimmed off a little bit of code. And apparently, I've been reading this, that this is going to be the way set. Now, what gets a little harder is I actually also wrote tests specifically around getting the full name so that I can handle things like this. Because if I run the tests on this one, I forget how many are failing in that one. But there are some. But I think once I get these to pass, where are they? So 1, 2, 3, 4. So once I get these to pass, then I should be good. That's just a matter of getting my head around what this is supposed to do. What does it say for an array again? Array, the nullability followed by the representation of the element type. Right. So the array, and then I get the thing there. So let's look at a simpler one. I think the nullable context now is good. So I'm going to go down here. It's like this one's good. Wait a minute. I'm missing an option here. Reference type null array. I thought I had that. Reference type array. Null values. Okay, I actually need another test in here. Reference type null array. Because I bet this one's going to fail too. Because what this one should be is that. So let's come back up here, run all these tests. That one does work. So it's just a case where I have both, that they fail. Okay. So, right, that's the one. Yeah. That one. Okay. So let's make sure that I don't have any breakpoints floating around anywhere. Run that. Okay, so the nullable context in this case is 0. It's basically saying nothing is null, which kind of sucks. It doesn't even have any attributes on it. Yeah. You suck. You suck. I think this is going to bite me. But no, 1 is not attributed. Right? 1 is not attributed. Not annotated. Okay, so this is the thing I'm getting a little bit concerned about. String. So that's the right one. If I come into here, called this one with a parameter like that. So here's what I'm a little concerned about. Let me go back to that document because there was something down here talking about nullable context attribute. And I think the values mean the same. But this was what I was worried about, is this should you know, they think they're making this easier, but they're making it really hard for me. If you look at the parameter here, what you're seeing is that there's no custom attributes. Okay. But if I go into its member, which is the actual method, and then I look at its which it has a nullable context attribute on it of 2. Isn't that cute? Okay. And then if you look at its declaring type, it has that 1 and 0. Okay. Dear God, please don't let there be any on runtime target for I don't see. I do not see. So I think I'm going to have to keep this in mind. Okay, so the thing is, let me do this here, is that you've got a parameter. Actually, let me go up to, you have the type, which has a method, and that method, in this case, has a parameter. You may have more. I'm just saying, the member. You have type, member, method, parameter. And if I come back to this documentation, I think they're saying the nullable context. I'm going to be reading what you're saying, but I'm just what you're seeing. We have type references that have no nullable attribute annotations. So like OG, like this thing where you have string S and it doesn't have any nullable annotations, but the nullable context on the class is 2. So it's actually a string, and that's the problem I think I'm running into here. Okay. So let's read through this. So it can go on a module class. Okay, it cannot go on a on assembly. Okay. And nobody gives a crap about modules. I'm almost positive. Let's just be a little bit picky here. So if I go to parameter and I go to member and I go to its declaring type and I go to is module even listed in here? I doubt it is. Ooh, it is. Module. Custom attributes, unvariable co-attribute. Okay. Well, it could be there. I guess to be pedantic, is that the right word? Is that we're going to have to do this module. Huh? What did you do? Doink, doink. Yoink. Why am I saving? We don't want to save. Who wants to save anything? Okay. So, it's optional. Of course it's optional, but not apparent in this case. Null annotations can be represented by using null attribute only, but in this case it isn't. It's valid, and I get why they're doing this. They're trying to compress as much state, as much metadata as they can, so that you don't have nullable all over the place. So I can kind of see what they're doing here. And as I said this morning, it's beta. It's not released. Things can change, and obviously they are. It's valid at the module level, type, and I guess I should have read the directions. By value, type represents at the scope that you have included in all of it. The nearest nullable context attribute metadata hierarchy applies. If there are no nullable context attributes in the hierarchy, missing nullable attributes are treated as nullable attribute 0. The attribute is not inherent. And I think, yeah, it can only be a flag. There's just one value. Okay. The compiler uses the following met. First, nullable attributes are generated each type reference and type parameter definition by calculating the byte, skipping empty byte and collapsing byte into single byte where possible. Then at each level in the hierarchy, starting at methods, the compiler finds the most common single byte value across all the nullable attributes at that level, and any nullable contract attributes on the immediate children. If there are no single byte values, there are no changes. Otherwise, the is created at that level where value is the most common, preferring 0 over 1, preferring 1 over 2. And all nullable attribute that value are removed. Oh. That iterative process continues up to the module level. If the common value at the module level is a value other than 0, a module level attribute is omitted. Note that an assembly compile with C#. Okay, so I think what I have to do is I'm going to have to, it's not just the array, and it's not just the position. That made it easy, actually, before, once I figured it out. But this is going to make it harder because I need to say, if the type that I'm looking at right now is, I don't get the squiggle there. I'm sorry, you're like, what am I pointing at? The squiggle right here. That doesn't make any sense. Why do you have a little tilde there? To me, that means it's, well, 0. Why would you have a 0 there? 0 means it's oblivious. 2 means it's null. I wish they would have an example up above here for this. You know, it's not good. Anyway. And how the heck would you test this? I kind of have to shoot a little flying blind here. Dictionary string object. Dictionary, which should be a question mark. String. Now, why is that a bang? Why is that a bang? I don't get it. If there are no single byte values. Otherwise, a nullable context should occur, though value is the most common value. With that value. And collapsing byte array to single byte where possible. That, I get they mean the constructor value. It's still a byte array, then, you know. Metadata argues certain methods. Combine reference the most common single byte value across all the nullable attribute values at that level. If there are no single byte values, then there are no changes. Oh. Okay, I think I'm getting this. I think. Okay, so I think what they're saying here is if you're looking at a reference type and it doesn't have a attribute on it at all. So an array, an int array is still a reference type, so you have to look and see. And what you look up at the nullable context is it's a 2. So they're looking for a singular byte value. Those get pushed up. The ones that don't, like the D array, the D field, the A field, the C field, those don't. So you take what's there. Okay. If the common value at the module level is a value other than 0, the default, a module level. So what I could have is like, I could have the context flag value. And I just look for that given, like, only if the parameter that I'm given, yeah, that would work. That would work. Oh, okay, I think I got this. So, let me write this down. So, only if the given parameter type does not have a nullable context, nullable attribute, then look up the hierarchy. You know what I mean. Look up the hierarchy for a nullable context attribute. Once one is found, use its byte flag value and store it into nullable context flag array. Otherwise, just put a 0 in the array. So what I mean by that is if I come back here and I say look for nullable context, is oblivious. My life. If you have a nullable attribute, then you still do this. Else, you're going to look at its method, then you're going to look at its type, and then you're going to look at its module. And in all those cases, as soon as you find one, we're going to be sticking its value into the array that we return. If we don't, we just return an empty array, which means we don't have anything. So that actually shouldn't be too bad. Shouldn't be. Famous last words. Okay, so what I need to do first is I need not just an isNullable attribute, but I need a isNullable context attribute. Yeah, I think that's what it's called, right? Nullable context. Okay. So we come back here. We say else if attribute. Wait a minute. Actually, shouldn't I be doing like a shortcut here? Because if it's a value type that has no generics, that's the problem. So I don't know if I really want to short circuit that too much here. So what I could do, let's put a to-do here that I'm going to ignore. To-do. If the parameter type is a value type that has no generic values, I think I can immediately return with an empty array. I think. Okay, so we're going to come through here, and we're going to say if we didn't find equals false. So we found it, and we can stop. If not found, now we need to do some funky gyrations. If I remember right, these custom attribute data things, yeah, they don't make it a base. It really drives me freaking nuts. And the reason why is because I want to actually find, let's do this, static byte get context value given, well, do I really, what I want to do is a clean way of going, look at this, then look at this, then look at this. Member attributes equal to parameter dot member get custom attribute data. It won't let me do this. It's doing the right thing because you can't capture it. My brain is just not working. What I want to do is I want to just recursively go up and make it cute and not have to really think about it too much. I guess, what is this? This is an IList of custom attribute data. IList of custom attribute data. Datum, data. Okay, so what we're going to do is say var method context value is equal to get context value based off the parameters parameter method declaring, remember, and then get custom attribute data. If method context value is not equal to null, then return new byte with method context value, except the value. There we go. Okay. Else var type context value is equal to get context value parameter member type, declaring type GCAD. This feels yucky right now, but I can't get my head around a cleaner way of doing it. Else module context value declaring type, declaring module, get custom attribute data. Assuming none of those are null, because why would they be? I can clean this up because this is just, and then you just return the array empty byte. Now, I think, let's just run these and let's see where we're at. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4 failing right now on the type extension name tests. No. Actually, write the code, you moron. For each of our attribute in data, if attribute is a nullable context attribute, we don't have to worry about found. Constructor arguments. Again, it should just be, should just be a flag value, except I have to cast that as a byte. There. Okay, so let's come back here and say run all tests. And now let's see which ones fail. Better. That one doesn't fail anymore. Okay. That one's good. What's wrong with this? Yeah, and so this is the other half of the equation, and this is why I think these are failing. It's because in certain cases, like if you read on here, these rules, like reference type, nullable value type, representation of the type argument only, non-generic value type skipped completely. Array, the nullability followed by representation of the element type. The element type is a nullable value type, non-generic value type, so you don't care. And there won't be a value, so I'm expecting one too many, I think, in some cases. So those I have to clean up. and then the array type, because and then the array type is I think I'm calling it one too many times, and I'm saying, oh, because you found a 2, because that's the cup in the context. So you're going to call int that, but you shouldn't do that, because what you should do is just skip it. So I think I got this, but I'm at the time for this episode, so I'm going to record another one later, because I feel like I'm getting a little bit closer, and that's good, and hopefully we'll clean this up a little bit more. So thank you all for watching. Leave comments and questions below. See you in the next episode.